Good morning. Happy Monday. It's good to see you here. We're still in the Gospel of John, chapter 18. I hope you had an opportunity this weekend to think about your voice and how God has given us these extraordinary voices and with them to not be silent, right? To be able to speak out into the world, right? The truth that God taught us. Now, what Jesus says to us is Jesus reminds us that we are to speak of what we know and don't speak of what we don't know. And it seems to me that that is a very easy thing to do, to often speak to the things that we don't know. But indeed, we are called to speak truth. We're called to speak with clarity, right? And not to speak when we don't have anything to say, and to speak honestly, succinctly, to the point when we do have something to say. And not to be intimidated by the person to whom we're speaking. And we're going to see that today, because Jesus is there with Lazarus, the beloved disciple, in the house of Ananias, who is the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who is the high priest. Ananias had been the high priest, and indeed he's still known as the high priest. That's an interesting thing to note. So there's it's more than a club, right? It's a hierarchy. It's a fraternity. And Caiaphas probably married into that fraternity with intentionality, chosen, I imagine, to be his son-in-law by Ananias himself. And so we have chapter 18, verse 19. Then the high priest questioned Jesus, Ananias that is, about his disciples and about his teaching. And Jesus answered, I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in the synagogue and in the temple, where all the Jews come together. I've said nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who heard what I said to them. They know what I have said. So what Jesus is doing here is he is being very clear that the crime of sedition, that is the crime that the high priest would hand him over to the Romans over, is that Jesus was undermining in secret the Roman government. And he was rising up disciples and stirring in secret some discontent among the Jewish people. And he says, no, I've always spoken out. I've always spoken openly. So the crime of sedition, which I think we'll see he ultimately does get accused of, that's why he dies on the cross and not by stoning, is he sort of sets very clearly that wasn't his crime right here. But the other thing he does is he doesn't kowtow to Ananias. He doesn't try to seek his favor or curry favor. He speaks this truth. He speaks with self-confidence and with honesty and calling to witness the words he's said from other people. Now, when he does this, and we'll read on, when Jesus had said this, one of the police standing nearby struck Jesus on the face, saying, is that how you answer the high priest? To which Jesus replies, if I had spoken wrongly, testify to the wrong. But if I have spoken rightly, why do you strike me? And this really speaks to the reality of human abuse and power as a way of intimidating truth in the world. And I think part of our calling as Christians is to see where that is taking place, right? To remember that we always can stand with our integrity if we live with integrity. Jesus, of course, lived with perfect integrity. And so what I'd invite you to consider as you think about this is, how do you live a life of integrity? Right? How are you able to stand before anyone, no matter what their rank, no matter what their gender or their power or the color of their skin, and stand and just honestly say what you know? Because the self-confidence that we're given is equal. God has given us all equal standing, you and me alike, and all of those that you meet. So here's the flip side of being able to speak with integrity, honestly, based on what you hear. First of all, question what you're saying. Because sometimes what we say is about winning an argument or creating dominance as opposed to sharing information. Jesus just shares information here. And secondly, if we believe that we're allowed to speak with integrity and honesty, then, of course, it's more important that we listen to others and treat them the same way. So I invite you to hold that in mind until I see you tomorrow. Remember, you're in my prayers. I think about you, even when I'm out here in Montana, which is where I am right now. I love you. Be at peace. Peace upon your soul.